Hey guys, so welcome to ChickWit Review. Today I'll be talking about a Korean drama called Flower Boy Next Door. First I'm going to tell you a little bit about the plot, give you a brief synopsis. What the show is about is a girl whose name is Dokmi. Dokmi is played by Park Shin-hye from You're Beautiful, which is one of my favorite Korean dramas. She's absolutely fantastic. She plays a girl who's very closed off, very introverted, doesn't leave her apartment very much. She's been hurt in the past, so she kind of hides from the world. But she has a crush on the guy who lives in the apartment across the way and uses binoculars to creepy stalk him. And we also have the character Enrique, and Enrique is a Korean man who's lived most of his life in Spain, and he's like this game-creating genius. And it's a big deal, and of course his cousin is the one that Dokmi has a creepy crush on, and he catches her stalking him. So that's how those two characters meet. We also have Oh Jin-rak. Oh Jin-rak is played by Kim Ji-hoon from Stars Falling from the Sky, which is another drama that I really enjoyed, and I was super excited when I saw that he was in this. He plays her next door neighbor who has a crush on her and does less of the creepy stalking, but still kind of a little bit of creepy stalking, kind of like, hey, I'm super interested in you, but I know that you're super introverted, and so I don't talk to you. Yeah, we really know how to get stuff done. So, Oh Jin-rak lives with his work partner, Dong-hoon, and the two of them work on a webtoon, which is actually more of a web comic. I heard webtoon and thought it was an animated piece, but it's not. It's more of a comic, which is actually really interesting because the source material for the show is a webtoon, and if you get online, you can actually read it if you know Korean, which I don't. But the art is really cool. I would definitely take a look at the webtoon if you are interested. I'll put a link below. So basically, you've got Dokmi, who doesn't leave her house, Enrique, who wants her to leave her house, and Jin-rak, who wants to watch her from afar. And then you enter the character Cha Do-hui, who is apparently a girl who's had a profound impact on Dokmi's life. And the first episode, you just kind of get that, like, she's bullied her kind of feel. And you're like, this chick is super introverted because she got bullied in high school. Who didn't get bullied in high school? I mean, really. But it's a drama, so there's more to the story than that. So that's a bit of a synopsis. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about this. I'll say that right off the bat, because if I don't connect with a K-drama really quick, I quit. Because I'm not going to invest that much time in something that I'm not that interested in. So I actually started a show called Flower Boy Ramen Shop, which is in the same series as Flower Boy Next Door, but after the first episode I didn't really connect with the main female character. I didn't really like the main male character, and I just stopped the show right there. That's my personal opinion. So if you're like, man, she's kind of being really nice in this review, it's because if I don't like it, I'm not going to give it the time of day. That's just the way it goes. I'm trying to give away as little as possible with this review, like of what actually happens in the story, because I hate spoilers. I'm going to talk about what happens at the end of the show a bit at the end, but I'm going to let you know, hey, if you don't want spoilers, stop the video now. One thing I really liked about this story is it's kind of like easy to figure out. Inevitably, Jin-rak and Enrique are kind of vying for Dokmi's attention. That's very cliche, you expect it to happen. I'm not really giving anything away. When Enrique and Jin-rak are kind of like fighting over her attention, they really get into an argument over like who knows her better and who likes her more and why they like her. So it's not like other shows, Twilight, where you're like, why are these two guys fighting over this girl who sucks? I don't understand what they like about her. She has no positive qualities whatsoever. And Dokmi is definitely not like that. I think she does have a lot of positive qualities, and I think that the show does a really good job of like highlighting, like, she's got these positive qualities, And they fit it into the dialogue, like, these are the positive qualities that these men are seeing in her. These are like the emotions that she's pulling out of them, and that's why they're so transfixed by her. That's why they're so interested in her, and why they want to have an impact in her life. Also, in the story, you kind of understand why she's having difficulty, like, deciding, do I want him or do I want him? Because both of them have positive qualities, and it's not like other shows where it's like, okay, that guy is treating her like crap. Why is she so like, oh, I can't decide. Do I want this guy who treats me like crap all the time, or do I want this guy who's totally nice and awesome and is really, really nice to me and super sweet? Pick the good one. In this show, both guys are highlighted in different ways. They both have positive qualities. And it's not like other shows where you're like, I really, really want her to be with that one because that's the right one. It's like, crud, who am I rooting for? They're both great. I want both of them to be happy. I don't know which guy I want her to pick. So it's kind of nice because, you know, you're rooting for both of them. One thing about Enrique is he's very aegyo, that Korean term for like super cutesy, yay! And you're at first, like, especially for Westerners, because we're not used to men behaving this way, it's not a positive quality women seek in men in Western culture whatsoever at all. He's very aegyo, and once you get used to that, it's okay because it's very genuine. That's just a part of who he is. That's his character. And it becomes easy to accept because that's just who he is, as opposed to Cha Do-hui, who is kind of a very conniving, manipulative girl who is all like, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. But then she sees the guy she's like, no, oppa, look how sweet and feminine I am and wonderful. And it's like, it's so fake and put on that it's just revolting. Do Korean men find this attractive? Do they? Because it's ill. That's ill. Probably one of my favorite parts of the show, and I'm going to be as vague about this as possible, is that there is a secondary couple that occurs later on in the series, and you kind of pick up on it as the show is going on, but it's not like one of those things that you pick up the first episode and you're like, they're going to get together. Yeah. It's kind of a bit more subtle, and it's more subtly well developed, as opposed to, like, you know, you watch the first couple episodes of most dramas and you're like, that's the guy she's gonna end up with. I mean, I don't need to watch the next 16 episodes because I know what's going to happen. Those two are going to get together. This one's very subtle, and it's layered in the background, and you see it in different scenes, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen. And it's so kind of unexpected. It's not unexpected, but it's not very cliche. Like, you're not like, oh, those two characters, blah. That I really liked it. I think that was actually like one of my favorite parts in the whole series. Like when they finally get together towards the end, I'm just like, oh, because I'm a girl. One criticism that I definitely had was the character of Cha Do-hui. She didn't really develop at all. The best way to make a good antagonistic character is to still have them develop and make them like really likable or really hateable, but she never really developed and she never really changed. Either way, she was just kind of there and she was just kind of annoying. They eventually reveal like what the history is between Cha Do-hui and Dokmi, but I don't think she ever really like matures or realizes that she's a horrible person and tries to change, and like she just stays the same. And I really feel like the show would have been better and they would have had, like, there was more potential for her character if she had changed in some way, whether for the better or for the worse, but she didn't. She was just there, antagonizing like stupid manipulative girls do. Nothing interesting about that. Could have been better. One thing with Enrique is like, this is a personal opinion of mine that I felt like they could have done better, but Enrique has spent a majority of his life in Spain. So he's fluent in Spanish and Korean. I really felt like they should have played this up a bit more. Maybe had him mutter things in Spanish, maybe sometimes have him looking for words in Korean, having trouble like forming sentences. Maybe he did and I just didn't notice because I'm not Korean, so I don't always pick up on things, but I really feel like him living his entire life in another country would have affected his speech more. One show that did this really well was Big, in which one of the characters had spent 5 years in America, so when he would get frustrated, he would say in English, "Oh my God!" I really liked that he would mutter things in English because it reminded you, oh yeah, he spent time in America. That makes sense. It was kind of more similar to the series To the Beautiful You, where supposedly she spent her entire life in America since she was like 5 and still spoke English with a very heavy Korean accent, and at one point she's having an argument with her American brother and she's yelling in Korean and he's yelling in English and they're going back and forth. It's like, she spent most of her life in America. She would speak English. It's not like, it would make much more sense if she were more like the character in Creating Destiny, who'd grown up in Australia and spoke really good English, and they highlighted that in the series. So some series they do it really well, some series they don't. I'm more critical of when they speak English because that's what I speak, but I really would have liked to have seen him speaking more Spanish and maybe struggling a little bit more with Korean just for more authenticity. I really want to take a minute to just talk about the editing of this show because it was really well done. I've seen other Korean series where it's a whole lot of montage sequences and a lot of like repeating, like they'll flash back a memory or something to tell you what these characters are thinking about, and they'll be like, basically you're watching this show twice because they just layer so much editing of like seeing things that you've already seen. This show was really well done in that they'd have a scene and then later on they'd like cut back to that scene and extrapolate and expand on it so that you're seeing new footage and learning new information. So they use that more as a tool to tell you more about the show. And I thought that was really interesting and really well done. They would also very much limit the amount that they would use flashbacks. I mean, they'd cut to scenes from previous episodes where it would just let you know what it is they're thinking about so that you're reminded, but they really limited it, and they also put a really cool filter on it so that it kind of had an interesting feel. Like the show just had a more unique style to it than a lot of other Korean series that I've seen, and I really appreciated that. Please watch it on Hulu, please share with us your opinions, and if you have any other shows that you would like us to review and talk about, please put it down below. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the ending now. I really liked that they did the year apart. I like that they made it so that the entire focus wasn't like, it is so important to be together all the time because we're in love. No, life just doesn't work that way. You can't always be with the person that you love all the time. I didn't really like the very, very end where they're like, he's my world and she's my world, because I'm not that much of a romantic and I don't think that your entire world should be another person. I like believe in love and I believe in romance, but I really appreciated that they didn't make it so that like they gave up everything and stopped focusing on their careers so that they could be together. Because while love is important, other things are important too. The end with Watanabe, this is me nitpicking, where they're like, what country are you going to next? And he goes, Africa! Africa isn't a country. Africa is a continent. But I did like that they had an actual Japanese guy playing a Japanese character. If you're Japanese or Korean and have opinions on this, please share, because I remember sharing the American TV show Heroes with a Japanese friend of mine, and she really, really liked it. But apparently the character Ando in Heroes is played by a Korean actor, so when he would speak Japanese, he would speak it with a very heavy Korean accent, and it would annoy her adorably. It was super fun. Another thing nobody really pointed out is you had the old lady that lived in their apartment building, and then you had the security guard who was always like, hey, I like you, I'm gonna buy you nice flowers and do nice things for you. And she's like, I'm only gonna pay attention to the hot young man who lived in this building. Okay, and then you find out, spoiler, that he's actually the building owner, and all of a sudden she's like, hey, how's it going? This lady is a cougar and a gold digger. And nobody was like, dude, she's a cougar and a gold digger. But, I mean, he's happy at the end of the show. Everyone's happy at the end of the show. Did you watch the end of the show? They're all like, yeah, we're happy, blah, blah, blah. And what was up with Shinrak and the girl who's exactly like Dokmi? It's like, oh, I thought you just liked her, but apparently you have a very, 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 very specific type. Guess I'll have to stop leaving my house and buy a nice collection of scarves and coats. I don't think that would work. No. It's probably not a good idea at all. Should probably not do that.